Hello everybody, I'm Tony Bulmer and it's great to be with you, albeit under very difficult and challenging times. You as leaders are operating in an extraordinary environment and you know this, communication is really crucial in good times. It's even more crucial in difficult and challenging times like we're seeing at the moment. I think we're seeing some mixed communication in terms of effectiveness from our political leaders, and I don't normally comment on that landscape. But because of that, I thought I would remind you as business leaders, given the pressure you're under at the moment, as to some key behaviours that really can make a huge difference to the outcome and the impact of your communication. So I want to touch on two things. One is the content and messaging of your communication. And secondly, just a couple of thoughts around the mediums that you may or may not think are most relevant at the moment. So in terms of content and messaging, three really simple points. Firstly, understand your audience, know your audience. And I know that's 101 communication skills, but what I really mean is know how they are feeling. Understand the stresses, the concerns, the worries, the anxiety that many people will be feeling at the moment. And to the degree that you feel similarly, don't be afraid to reflect that. Empathy is very, very powerful. Some would argue it weakens you as a leader. I will suggest to you every time, it actually strengthens you as a leader because it makes you more believable. So be real with people. The second thing is, don't feel like you have to have the answers to all their concerns. Clearly at the moment, we're updating and the grounds are changing on us on an hourly basis. We have seen some politicians on one particular day come out and say one particular thing. The next day they've said something almost the complete opposite. And that tends to suggest to the listeners that they weren't that sure of what they were saying the day prior. I would strongly encourage you not to do that. Be clear and concise and have conviction as to what you do know. Be open and honest with what you don't yet know. By all means, share your thoughts and your effort that's going on behind the scenes to determine solutions and strategies going forward, but don't overpromise. Your people want strong leadership, absolutely, but they also want honesty. They want to know that you're believable. The third thing I would say to you in terms of content and messaging is be in sync with what you're saying emotionally. And what I mean by that is don't make it sound like it's all going to be fine and picture perfect and very quickly and soon, because it may well not yet be, at least for a while. It is serious. Don't be afraid to reflect that gravity and that seriousness in the way you deliver. So know who you're talking to and more importantly, know how they're feeling and reflect that back to them if you feel the same way. Secondly, don't overpromise. Be real and honest and be genuine in your emotions. Reflect the seriousness of the situation. In terms of the mediums, clearly at the moment there's a need to update people on a pretty continual basis. In that sense, email is arguably very easy, but it may not do justice to conveying the emotions and the sincerity and the genuineness of your messaging. Face-to-face is very difficult for obvious reasons, given the circumstances. And so to that end, I would strongly encourage that perhaps a lot of communication could be done, as I'm doing, by a tripod and an iPhone. So, because that visual communication, I think, will show much more the genuineness and sincerity of how you're feeling, as well as the words. So a lot of challenges at the moment. Reflect your audience's concerns, don't overpromise, and be real as to the seriousness of the situation. And think about the medium. A lot of communication's needed. Put the effort in, get the right outcome, make it count.